When the Sri Lankan economic crisis erupted in 2022, India provided Sri Lanka with aid of something around $4 billion and also helped Sri Lanka in restructuring of its loans from the IMF and the third countries also. Hello viewers, my name is Amit Mahajan. Namaskar and welcome to all of you. I welcome you all to my YouTube channel, Layman History and Geopolitics. Friends, today we are going to talk about a topic which is very practical, and the brunt of this topic is being bared by our fishermen, the fishermen that reside in the state of Tamil Nadu. And it so happens that in Tamil Nadu there are 13 coastal districts, and in these 13 coastal districts there are something around 422 villages, which are basically fishing villages. Around 75,000 families are involved in this trade, and as per some data, it is said that around 1 million people are directly or indirectly involved in fishing activities. So it happens is that these people, as we see the map of India, uh, south there is Tamil Nadu, and there is sea, and across the sea there is Sri Lanka. So our fishermen go for fishing in the Park Strait, which and Gulf of Mannar, which separate India from Sri Lanka. See, from the nearest point, if you go, I think it's Dhanushkodi to Sri Lanka, the distance is just 18 kilometers. So it's not such a huge, vast expense. So it's 18 kilometers to I think 40 kilometers is the most width of this place. And our fishermen have been looking for fish, catching their fish in this area itself from centuries. It's not like so that they are doing this from today itself. It is a process which has been ongoing from centuries. And what is happening is that our fishermen are being arrested by Sri Lankan Navy. On 8th of February itself, 14 of our fishermen were arrested by the Lankan Navy. On 27th of January, I remember Sri Lankan Navy fired at our fishermen, in which two fishermen were injured. And I also remember during the last September also, Sri Lankan, when some fishermen were sent for trial in Lankan courts, the courts had imposed a fine of something around 1 crore on fishermen, poor fishermen. Sri Lankan courts had imposed this fine of around 1 crore Indian rupees on these fishermen. There were around 16 fishermen. And if they would be unable to pay this fine, they would have to stay 6 months more, languish 6 months more in the Sri Lankan jails. That was the pronouncement of the court. So why are our fishermen venturing into such a dangerous trend, into such dangerous seas when they are caught? And why not fishing into our areas, Indian line of control? Why are they crossing international maritime boundary line and transgressing into Sri Lankan sea lanes? This is the question. In 2016, Mr. Asoka, an economist, R. Sananya, again an economist, they had conducted a survey in Tuticorin in a fishing settlement named as Veera Pandian, just a moment, Veera Pandian Patinam. They interviewed people in this fishing settlement, and what they came to know that 74% of the people are engaged in fishing because it's their hereditary trade. 4% were engaged in this business because they didn't know any other work, and 22% were engaged in this business because this trade gave them profits. So the basic thing is these people, when they are engaged in this business, they are engaged in this business basically because they don't have any other livelihood option. So when people don't have that livelihood option, and we know that in the districts of Ramnathpuram and Padukoti, these two districts are down on the development strata of Tamil Nadu, people are forced to continue with their hereditary trade, that is fishing. And that is where these people venture out into the seas, and knowingly or unknowingly they cross into Sri Lankan waters and are arrested by the Sri Lankan Navy. When these economists further viewed them, what they came to realize was, now this is a very interesting pattern. Only about 14% of the people said, just 14% of the total respondents said that we are earning less than 24,000 yearly. 50% said that we are earning 50,000 plus, and there were only 6% who said that we are earning 1 lakh plus. And whatever they were earning, half of that was spent on the lighting, repairs, fuel of their boats, or whatever their expenses could be. And what so happened was, as a result, that they were under huge debts. The loan sharks were taking their toll. These people are forced to uh, take loans on huge interest from the loan sharks, and their predicament continues. So this is the condition of one settlement, and it so happens that, see, this trade is not very lucrative actually. It so happens that people are continuing with this trade because they don't have any other option. Now, coming on to the second part, this was about what is the condition of our fishermen, why they are continuing with this trade. Now, secondly, we will talk about why they go into these seas. They go into seas, as I've said, it's their source of livelihood. And why do they venture into Sri Lankan waters? That's the question. If they know that they are going to get arrested, why the hell they do venture into the Sri Lankan waters? The thing is, there is in fishing there are two systems. You go on mechanized boats, you put your nets in the sea, you collect your catch, and then you come back. Second option is that what has happened in Tamil Nadu is during the 70s, government gave impetus to the fishing industry. The big trawlers were built and bought by the fishing giants. And so happens is when these trawlers came into the scene, what they do is they cast their fishing nets, which are cone shaped or funnel shaped, and they are cast at some depths or they are cast on the ocean floor. So when they are cast on the ocean floor, what so happens is they are non-discriminatory in their catch. So when you are rolling this fishing net on the ocean floor or on some depth, it will catch everything that comes in its way. So the thing is the richness of the seas. These seas boast something around 580 varieties of fish. This particular sea. Now the thing is, these fishing nets catch the all whatever comes in their path, and when it catches everything, it comes what comes in its path. It basically also catches the non-targeted varieties of fish. It catches the eggs of fish. It catches the juvenile fishes also. It takes away the grass, the sea grass also along with it. So what so happens is that fishes, Indian fishing grounds are so depleted with this activity which has been going on from since 70s that our fishermen are forced to venture into Sri Lankan waters. The reason being is that Sri Lankan waters are rich still as compared to Indian waters. They are rich in their substance. They have good quality of fish. Fish grade is high around there. Now it happens is now this is what the people are against. The Sri Lankans are against. Sri Lanka had banned this trawlers in 2017, and see what has happened is now there is another question of an island named Katchatheevu, which we all remember. During 2024 elections, Mr. Modi from BJP, our Prime Minister, had said that Congress had ceded this island to Sri Lanka in consort with the Tamil Nadu government of that time, and our fishermen are facing issues due to it. Now, it so happens as regards this Katchatheevu island, I would like to clarify around here. These are some historical facts. In 1974, India conducted Pokhran 1. Mrs. Indira Gandhi was under immense pressure, it has said. And in order to relieve this pressure, what she did was that it so happened that Sri Lanka was supposed to be the chair of it was supposed to host NAM summit in 1976. And it was also, there were chances that the chairperson of UN General Assembly would be also from Sri Lanka. So it was something which India, being under immense pressure, wanted some positive points from Sri Lanka, some support from Sri Lanka, and Mrs. Indira Gandhi unilaterally signed an agreement with Mrs. Bandaranaike, who was the Prime Minister of Sri Lanka at that time, and ceded the island of Katchatheevu to Sri Lanka without consulting the Tamil Nadu political parties or assembly at that time. Prior to 1974, it was contested between India and Sri Lanka, who will sway over this island. It's basically two islands are around there. Bigger one is Katchtheevu. So it was, she ceded the island to Sri Lanka. In the historical times, it was a part of the Ramnathpuram, Raja of Ramnathpuram. And when the British had abolished the zamindari system, uh, they took control of this island. And there were British in India also. British ruled India also. They ruled Ceylon also, which was the name of Sri Lanka earlier. But still, they couldn't agree where it lies. So it was contested, this place. And in 1974, Mrs. Indira Gandhi unilaterally ceded it to Sri Lanka. And that is where the problems began for our fishermen. So till then these were open seas for the fishermen from Indian side also, and the fishermen from Sri Lankan side also. They used to fish freely in these waters. Now it so happened that the international maritime boundary line was demarcated. It is supposed that it was demarcated at that time. And our fishermen, when they started going into these waters from 1974 itself, they were being arrested by the Sri Lankan Navy. Their boats were being captured by the Sri Lankan Navy. And it has been going on through then only. When the Tamil Nadu government protested to the central government about it, Mr. Swaran Singh, the foreign minister of that time, said that rights of our fishermen are not going anywhere. They would be allowed to fish around there. They would be allowed rights on the Katchatheevu island. But again, the thing is, the prerogative had also to be side from the Sri Lankan side. Sri Lankan side thought that Indian fishermen, as per the agreement, are only allowed for Saint Anthony's festival every year on the Katchatheevu island without any documents or visas. And they are also allowed on the island for resting and drying of their nets. But they are not allowed to carry on any sort of fishing activity on the island. So that is where Katchtheevu, the Sri Lankan boundary, extended 1 mile on the Indian side from the Katchtheevu island. So from Katchtheevu island, one towards India, 1 mile came the Sri Lankan territory. Now, as I was talking about, this was about the Katchtheevu island issue. So as the stocks of fish are dwindling in our areas, it is said that during the height of the Sri Lankan Tamil War, as we all know, LTTE, I've done a segment on that also, the famous Prabhakaran, as we all know, Tamil Elam. From 1983 to 2009, there was immense civil war in Sri Lanka. These waters were open. Our fishermen used to go into these areas despite the international maritime boundary line being demarcated. Our fishermen used to go into these areas, and it is said that around 3 days a week, around 1,000 trawlers used to go into these areas, fish around there. And adding to it, rest of the 4 days, small boats, also Indian boats, used to go around in these areas to catch their fish. Now the problem arising here is in 2009, the civil war was over, and after that, Sri Lanka started exercising its control over these areas. And what they found was that Indian fishermen were coming to these areas, the trawlers were coming into these areas, small fishermen in their mechanized boats were also coming to these areas, and they were catching their fish. And what they objected was to the trawling activity. They said that as your resources have been depleted in the Indian maritime boundary, now if you carry on these trawling activities in our area, it would also deplete our stocks. And there are some species of fish, some coral reefs, as we all know, are built over time, and they support an ecology. So when you are uh, uh, putting your nets around, trawlers are putting their nets around in these seabeds, they are basically destroying the ecology of the place. That's what they are saying. So it is like it is a continuous problem, and this problem is having its impact on the livelihood of our people. Our people are being arrested. So the question is, what are the steps ahead? What should the governments do? See, it is an objective question rather than going on simmering the political issues, making it a political tool. It should be thought of from a social economic perspective, because these are our people. They are facing this every day in the high seas. They are putting their lives on the line just to feed their children. In 2010, Indian and fishermen committees also met from Sri Lanka and India in Chennai. It was agreed that trawlers activity had to end within an year. Then there were some other steps which were also taken. I would like to read out just a moment. So it was said that fishing activities were to be reduced to uh, 2 days in a week. If we reduce fishing activities to twice a week, so that would be 70 days in a year, and to maintain distance of 3 nautical miles from the Sri Lankan shore. And when you are going to Sri Lankan waters, you would fish just for 12 hours on a single trip. Then establish a monitoring and reinforcement system on Indian side that also penalizes people for uh, transgressing these waters. And as I said, bottom trawling had to end, but it has not ended. So let's see it from an objective view, from a socio-economic problem view. In 2016, an committee was formed, and it was supposed to meet every month or maybe 6 months, but still till now only 5 meetings have been held. So all the stakeholders, the Indian government, the Sri Lankan government, the Tamil Nadu government, the North Province government from Sri Lanka, our fishermen, their fishermen, have to sit together. You see, Indian fishermen from Tamil Nadu and Tamil fishermen from Sri Lanka, they share an umbilical cord brethren relationship. The culture is the same, the language is the same, the religion is the same. It is said that prior to the Sri Lankan Civil War, the Tamils from Sri Lanka when they used to catch fish, they used to come on Indian shores, watch a movie, and next day used to go back. And Indian fishermen asked them to bring port roti, which is a famous delicacy in Sri Lanka, to share with them. This sort of relationship they share. Sri Lankans, it is said, would allow our fishermen to fish in these waters, provided they leave this trawling practice. And what government needs to do is see these trawlers are meant for deep sea fishing. Why don't you develop deep sea fishing? It is the seas around Orissas are very deep. Why don't you shift these trawlers to those places and provide subsidies to our fishermen that they can purchase new mechanical boats, subsidize the cost of the boats, give them on lower interest, help these people, they need the help of the government. Both Tamil Nadu government and the central government have to pay attention to this regard. Then you could see uh, there are some other activities also. Sri Lanka is doing farming of sea cucumbers, which are basically the export to China. This is what our people can also do. Our fishermen can also do. Diversify their work. It's not just that fishing they are going to do. Take them to other avenues which are available near the sea. Help these people out. They are our people. Then this is only the way forward to look at from an economic social perspective. That's the only way I believe this issue can be solved. And Indian government, if it is helping Sri Lanka when it is in dire straits, our finance minister, our commerce minister, they should talk to Sri Lanka and get our people released. It is said that today, even today, around just a moment, 1907 by the data I'll quote of July, even in July 97 of our fishermen were still languishing in the Sri Lankan jails. Around 241 boats were seized by Sri Lankans. Please get them free. If a fisherman loses his boat, he loses his livelihood. He won't be able to come out of it in his entire lifetime. Please help this out, help these people out. It is the duty of our government, and it is the duty of us, the people, who should raise voices of these people on the streets or in the panels or in the legislatures or the parliament, because they need some help. It has to be done by us, and that's our duty. And secondly and lastly, I would like to say one thing around here. Why this is to this national media. When some fishermen are caught um, in the Arabian Sea by Pakistani forces, you call them Indian fishermen. And when Indian fishermen are caught by these Sri Lankan Navy, why are they referred to as Tamil fishermen? Why you specifically put the tag of a Tamil? Indians are Indians, whether they are on the north, whether they are in the south. Don't classify them on race basis. We are a nation as a whole, and we should respect this point. That was all from me for today. Thank you. Namaskaram Banakkan to all of you. I hope you liked my video for today. I request all of you to kindly like, subscribe, and share my YouTube channel, Layman History and Geopolitics. Namaskaram Banakkan to all of you. Thank you.